Hi there guys, and welcome to another top 10 list. This month is going to be the 10 best Spanish movies. We're going to get straight into it with the first film in the number 10th spot, which is the film Cell 211, or in its original language, Celda 211. It's a 2009 film directed by Daniel Monzon, and basically it's about a soon-to-be prison guard who's on the tour of a prison the day before he's supposed to start work. An accident happens and his co-workers have to leave him inside an empty cell, which is cell 211, and a prison riot breaks out while he's in there, and basically he has to convince the other rioters, the other convicts, that he is a convict himself and that he's not actually someone who's going to start working as a prison guard the next day. Definitely an action-packed film, really enjoyable. The plot's done really well. The protagonist, the bald guy you can see in the image, Luis Tosar, gives a great performance, really makes it realistic. You really start feeling for the characters. A lot of twists and turns. It's not a normal prison film. Definitely a lot of interesting things happen. It's a lot more complicated than it first originally seems, and as well as the strong acting performances, there's a really good surprise ending. So definitely recommended to watch this film, a great prison riot film. Okay, so number 9 we have the film The Devil's Backbone, or El Espinazo del Diablo in Spanish. It's a 2001 film directed by Guillermo del Toro, and it stars Edward Noriega. He's the guy that you see in most of the images now at the moment. Basically it's a film about an orphanage with a group of kids. It's set in 1939, which is the last year of the Spanish Civil War, and the film follows a group of boys who live in the orphanage and the problems they have obviously with each other and also with the groundskeeper, who's the actor you see in most of the images. It starts off as a serious drama, but it quickly turns into a sort of ghost story as the children start to see definitely a presence in the orphanage, which eventually gets stronger and stronger and actually affects the adults in the orphanage. Very interesting story. Guillermo del Toro does really well. It's one of his first films. The images of the ghosts is definitely scary at times, but there is always that drama aspect in the background, that there's a really serious tone in the film about the war and children in an orphanage, and it just all comes together at the end beautifully with another surprise ending. Okay, so in the number 8 we have the film The Skin I Live In, La Piel que Habitó. It's a 2011 film directed by Pedro Almodóvar, and as you can see it stars Antonio Banderas. He gives a great performance, and the other actress Elena Naya, she also gives a great performance. I think they really work well together. It's a psychological thriller with definitely a touch of horror. Definitely affects you while you're watching it, and it's very difficult to explain what the film is about without giving away the huge the huge twist. And basically the only thing I can say is that Antonio Banderas is a surgeon, and he commits illegal surgery on his patients, and this film is about one of his particular patients where he does so definitely some operations on it, definitely psychologically disturbing, but yeah, both of them give a great performance. There's a huge twist in it, and one of those films that you should definitely watch more than once. What more can I say? Just a great film, and Antonio Banderas, as always, gives a great performance. Number 7 we have probably the most famous film on this list, which is The Others, Los Otros, starring Nicole Kidman. It's a 2001 film directed by Alejandro Amenábar, and it's a really great thriller horror. Nicole Kidman gives a great performance. Basically it's about her and her 2 children that live in this house, and her 2 children have an illness called photosensitivity, and they can't be in direct sunlight, so the house is always in darkness. It's just really eerie. The great thing about this film is that it is a sort of a ghost story. There are hidden things in the house like you see in many horror films, but it's just the way that they scare you is definitely done in a very intelligent way. It's not like jump scares all the time, and they don't use a lot of CGI monsters or ghosts and things like that. It's really psychological, just really fun to watch, and as with a lot of Spanish films, there's a great twist ending. So I really recommend this film. Definitely give it a watch. I'm sure you won't be disappointed. Number 6 is the 2007 film directed by Jaume Balaguerro, which is Rec, short for Record. It's a really good zombie film. It's quite unique because in Spain there are very few zombie films, so it's worth checking out just for that. It's a found footage film with shaky cam, which I'm not normally a fan of, but they do it to great effect in this film. I really enjoyed it. It's the first in a 4-film franchise, and they actually rebooted it in the USA under the name Quarantine after the original, so it must have turned a few heads. Basically, it's about a reporter who's doing a documentary on some firemen and what they do during the night. And they're on a call out in an apartment building because an old woman is causing a disturbance. And when they arrive, she turns around and tries to bite them and attack them. And they end up getting, stuck in this apartment block trying to survive. Typical zombie genre film. If you do enjoy the genre, you're going to really enjoy this film. It's done really well, and it's become very famous recently. They've got 4 films, as I said, and definitely well worth checking out. At number 5, we have the 2000 film The Sea Inside, or in Spanish El Mar Adentro. It's directed by Alejandro Amenabar, who's the same director as the others, and it stars, as you can see in the image, Javier Bardem. We all know who he is. He's the Bond villain in Skyfall, and also stars Belén Rueda, this woman you're seeing now in the image. They both give amazing performances, and it's just a really strong film. It's based on a true story of Ramon San Pedro, who's a quadriplegic, and he spends 28 years of his life in a bed. The only thing he can move is his head, and it's his fight for the right to end his own life. It's definitely a very political film about euthanasia, and it definitely brings up some political views. And it's just a really interesting film. I think that everyone should give a watch, and of course the 2 main stars in it give great performances. Definitely should check this one out. At number 4, we have the horror film Julia's Eyes, or Los Ojos de Julia. It's directed by Guillermo Morales, but was produced by Guillermo del Toro, so he gives it a nice touch. It's a 2010 film, and it also stars Belén Rueda, and she gives another great performance here in this film. What's really interesting about this film is the plot and the story. It's really interesting. It's about 2 twin sisters who have the same disease. They slowly sort of lose their vision, and in the first opening scene we see one of the twin sisters who supposedly commits suicide, but you feel like there's someone watching her and that she's been forced to do it. And the rest of the film is following the other twin sister, who starts to have the same problems with her vision, and also she feels that someone else is following her too. And at the start you think that she's crazy, but during the film it gets a lot scarier, and you start to realise that she's not crazy and that someone is following her. But as she hasn't got very good sight, it's very difficult to see them. Definitely a great twist at the end. Really interesting film, and one of these horror films that will stay with you for a while. At number 3, we have the film Sleep Tight, or Mientras Duermes. It's a 2012 film directed by Jaume Balaguerro, who was the same director of Rec, if you can remember. It also stars Luis Tosar, who was the actor in the first film on the list, Cell 211. He gives a great performance. Basically, this film, it's definitely a psychological horror. It really gets under your skin, and it's about a handyman or doorman who lives in an apartment block, and he's extremely sad, and the only way they can get happiness into his life to make him feel better is to do really horrible things to the residents who live in the apartment block. And basically when they get sadder, he gets happier. And the thing that's really good about the film is that most of the residents, or nearly all of them I should say, straight away get sad, but there's one resident who lives there who she's always happy, so the things that he does to her start getting creepier and more extreme, and you feel bad for her, but you really do sort of egg on this handyman who you want him to do more things to her. Psychologically really does get your blood boiling, but just a thoroughly enjoyable film, and you'll be thinking about it for a long time afterwards. In the second spot we have the film The Orphanage, or El Orfanato. It's a 2007 film directed by Juan Antonio Bayona. If you don't know who he is the director of The Impossible, great film. And this also stars Belén Rueda, an actress that is in a lot of the films in this list, and it's produced by Guillermo del Toro once again. So a really interesting film, a horror film. It's about Belén Rueda, who she was brought up in an orphanage, and when she's older and she's got a bit of money, she wants to go back to the orphanage and sort of turn the building into a home for disabled children. And she takes her son with her, and what she realizes that her son sort of gets an invisible friend, and first she thinks it's just something that's in his head, but she sort of realizes that more and more it might actually be true. And after an argument with her son, he disappears, and the rest of the film is her trying to find her son throughout the house, and a lot of things start happening to her while she's doing it, and she actually discovers a lot more than she bargains for. Typical horror film, jump scares, but it's a really interesting story, and a great performance from Belén Rueda, who's a great actress. Really want to check out, and one of my favorite horror films. Okay, so we're down to number 1, a great film, Pan's Labyrinth. I'm sure most of you have seen it. It's El Laberinto del Fauno in Spanish. It's a 2006 film directed by Guillermo del Toro. It's also got the producer Alfonso Cuarón, who's the director of the film Gravity, if you didn't know who he is. So yeah, great film minds joined together here. An amazing film. It's a mix between a drama, a horror, a fantasy, and it's really difficult to explain, you know, the plot of the film without you actually seeing it. It's definitely better to watch it. But it's sort of split into two. It's the drama of, you know, the post-Spanish Civil War, where the winners, the Franquist soldiers, are trying to hunt down, you know, the last of the soldiers who lost in the Civil War. And while this is happening, a young girl, you can see here in the images, is her name's Ophelia. She's, you know, with one of the Franquist generals. She's the daughter of his new wife. And while she's there, she sort of she gets lost in a fantasy world. You know, a creature, this type of a fawn, sort of leads her away from the house, and you know, sort of instructs her to do things and tries to convince her that she, you know, she's a princess from the underworld. So yeah, definitely a mix between drama and fantasy, and I don't want to explain anything else. I don't want to give it away, but you know, the CGI in this is amazing. Some animatronics, absolutely perfect, and Guillermo del Toro does a great job. All of the actors are great performances, but I do advise you, there are some strong scenes, especially, you know, where the Franquist general tortures some of the, you know, the losing soldiers. It is quite strong, and you know, it does, you know, does shock you a bit. But that's all what Guillermo del Toro wanted to do, is mix, you know, this mix between drama, horror, and fantasy. An amazing film, and I think one of the films that every film movie buff should definitely watch at least once. Highly recommended. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely try and check out some of these films if you haven't seen them. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, share it around a bit. I'd love some more people to see it. And obviously subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Take care now.